Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're calling in from. Welcome to UX and Coffee with Jen, with me. Got my second cup of coffee today. I'm like powering through things today. I almost wasn't going to do a live stream this week. I just had ACL surgery last week and I've been recovering, but I'm feeling good. Yesterday was a great day. And I thought it was timely to just have a conversation about whether or not people should stay the course and have grit and apply for those UX jobs, or is it time to move on and do something else? So I've been hearing a bit of this kind of chatter in a number of places, on forums and LinkedIn UX groups, in Facebook UX groups, my own coaching clients. And it's interesting to me. It's just really interesting to me. And I have so many thoughts and so many feelings about it. Let me start by bringing up my post. It might be easier to just do it right here on the desktop. In case you haven't seen it, if you haven't read it yet, let me pull it up and we'll start there. Oops. That's not what I wanted to do. So I'll just go ahead and do it from my phone. So what happened? I think it all happened yesterday. Somebody posted something on a Facebook group and I replied to that. And then it got me over to LinkedIn and I wanted to share on LinkedIn what I was thinking. And so this is kind of where it started. So I just want to give you that little background. All right. So here's what I said. Should I continue on my journey of trying to find a UX job or should I give up? Some of you have asked this in forums, in groups, and I wanted to share my perspective. The UX economy has been shaken up and people are worried about their careers. There have been massive layoffs in our industry. Budgets have been cut, and it seems we have been at a standstill for months. Dare I say a year, because it's been quite a long time. And not too long ago, the UX field was booming. Prior to COVID, during COVID, when everyone was at home on the screen, and post-COVID, when companies were investing in innovation. But now what? Is UX doomed? Are we finished? Should we move on and find other things to do? Maybe. We'll get back to that in a minute. But first, in my humble opinion, UX is not doomed. Consider how many people and companies still do not even know what UX is. How many of you, for example, when you tell somebody you are UX researcher, UX designer, and people are like, what is that? Right? We still have to describe what it is, explain what it is. How many companies still don't even have UX in their companies, whether that be contract or full-time? Those of us who've been in tech may feel like the field is saturated, but I assure you it is not. Right now, the ratio of jobs to people available for those jobs is lopsided. But in just the past 2 weeks, literally in just the past 2, maybe even 3 weeks, I've seen more job postings than I've seen in a really, really long time. I think many companies are taking advantage, rightfully so, of all the qualified people who've been laid off. Yay for those companies for realizing this is the time to hire. It's actually quite exciting when you think about it. All these companies that don't have UX and they're realizing they can hire talented people, maybe at a lesser salary than those people were making before, but super talented people. All right, sorry, I digress. If you're dedicated to becoming a UX researcher, designer, or writer, stay the course. The thing that people are forgetting is that it was a little too easy to enter the field before. People were coming out of boot camps with very little training and got jobs in big tech companies making lots and lots of money. And now it may be a little more difficult. You may have to work a little harder for it. You may need to develop some grit. Now is the time to invest in yourself. Now is the time to continue learning. I recommend continuing to gain experience so you're better prepared with real world experiences and stories of how you overcame research difficulties when things did not go as planned. You can read more, you can take courses to learn the lingo, you can learn how people think, how people react when things don't go as planned. You can participate in trainings that give real world experience. You can learn from experts. You could be a note taker for an established consultant. You can read and then write about it. While it may not be lucrative yet, it will make you more knowledgeable and prepared for your next step. And in the meantime, work on something you love, like a new hobby, something fun that brings you joy, but do not give up. I see people who just want to throw in the towel. And if you truly want this career, I'm suggesting you stay the course and don't give up. The UX field is not dying, it's restructuring. And if you want it bad enough and work hard enough for it, you will have it. And I'm happy to chat and provide resume, portfolio guidance. Just reach out. So I think, part of what is, bothersome about the fact that people are like, do I jump ship, is like, and I don't know, I may be overgeneralizing, so I hope nobody takes offense to this, but, I feel like people aren't putting in the work. Sure, there are hundreds of people applying for any given open role. And the thing is, it's not luck. You're not getting the job because you're unlucky. Okay. There's people who are perhaps more qualified for those jobs. There are people who have more experience for those jobs, and they're the ones who are getting the roles. So it's like this mentality of, do I stay? Do I go? If you think about any other profession, people get some training. They want to have a profession. They want to have a career, and they get some training, and then they start at the bottom and then they work their way up. We could think about any profession. I'm always using analogies of building homes, and, you could use those analogies. The person who learns how to put up sheetrock, they're not taking one course from an expert and then all of a sudden they get like the lead role in putting up sheetrock in people's homes or in buildings. You start from the bottom and you learn from the experts, and you get better and you get better and you get better. So then when you have an interview, when you're filling out an application, when you have your resume, you have all these line items of how you started and how you got from where you started to where you are now. We can think about a chef. Like, a chef doesn't come out of school with, great training and all of a sudden land head chef job. And they may not even get, a great chef job. They may need to start somewhere that is less appealing than where they intend to go ultimately. But that's what you do. You have to put in the work. And I just feel like right now, with the UX market being so wonky, I mean, we can all agree that it's been really wonky and all over the place, whether that be for contractors or full-timers. Like, it's definitely been less than stellar for many, many people, even those who still have the jobs. I mean, I talked to my old colleagues at Google and at Facebook, and it's tough. It's tough in there. The people who are still in there, there have been people didn't get raises. People aren't getting promoted. Like, there have been standstills. People are required to do more with less. Like, it's really hard everywhere. But if you want it, and if this is the thing you're working towards, if you really want this career, then stay the course. UX isn't going anywhere. It's still growing. There's still so much to grow, and so many companies who still need UX research and design, whether that be in-house or contractors. There's still so many, and we can see it. I mean, let me pull up right now. I've been reposting. If you're not already following me on LinkedIn, I invite you to, because I've been reposting, as many people are, all of these different job postings every single day of all different levels. I was so excited yesterday to see a post that I reshared at Meta for early career roles. And that was really exciting, right? So it's not just mid-level, there's early career, there's super senior level. There's lots and lots of roles, right? Product design manager. Let's see, I'm just going to scroll. Design opportunities, a remote design opportunity with Center of Disease Control and Prevention. Now I'm seeing less because I've been in there and I've been reposting everywhere. Even things like this, we're looking for skilled WordPress developers to come join our crew, right? It might not even be the UX thing. Here's another one: product marketer, senior staff product marketing manager, UX writer, staff product designer. I mean, I could go on and on, but senior user experience researcher, there's lots. But here's the thing too. Okay, so back to the Facebook post that kind of got this going yesterday. That got me thinking about this and making me wanted to share my perspective. So some will say, well, having grit and like sticking in there and investing in myself, which presumably means spending money, right? If you're going to take a lesser paying job, or if you're going to hire a career coach, or if you're going to take courses and trainings and things like that, these things do cost money. And that's why I call it investing in yourself, because you really are. You're investing in yourself. You're growing from your experiences. But you may say, well, that doesn't pay the bills, and I need to, keep the lights on. I need to pay the bills. You can do that with other things while you're still working on getting to where you need to be in your UX career. You can do other things. So whether that be, whatever I just saw there, WordPress, somebody with WordPress experience, you may have some other area of expertise, and you can do something else in the meantime while you are working on becoming a UX expert. I bartended all through, bartended and waitress through undergrad, through grad school, while I was waiting for, my dream job. And that's what paid my bills, and it was a lot of fun. I had a great time bartending and made a lot of friends. Maybe you like that kind of thing. I'm not saying to do that permanently if what you want to do is be a UX researcher, UX designer, but get creative, and find other things in life that bring you joy, that you do, that lead to happiness. So you're not just upset, for lack of better words, that you're not getting a job right away. A few years ago, it was really easy for people to get jobs in really high paying, well-established companies. And I think that's changed. We're going to have to work a little bit harder for it. And that's okay. That's how it is in other industries. We've been a little bit spoiled in our industry. Let's all be honest about it. What else did I want to say about this? Oh, the other thing is the notion of investing in yourself and working on additional training. So you can, I mentioned in my post, you could be a note taker for an expert. Like, I kid you not, that is experience. And then on your resume, you're not going to put note taker. You're going to put junior researcher, because that's what you're doing as a note taker, right? You're still in a UX role. And then you have stories to share when you're talking to people about your experience, when you're interviewing, but even not interviewing. If you're at meetups and you're meeting people, you're at conferences, you're meeting people, you have stories, you have experiences. And that's what it really comes down to. It's about gaining experience to make you a better candidate. So when you are applying, you're getting the interview. When you're getting the interview, when you're in the seat, you're confident because you've had all of these experiences. And, sure, they're not going to hire you because you don't have the experience, but you can do some of these other things, like I mentioned. Reach out to established people, ask them if they need a helping hand. I got started. I talked about this a few weeks ago about Corey Lebson and I. And when I met him years ago, I met him at a conference, and I was interested in doing consulting work, but at the time, I hadn't started yet. I think I was still in grad school at the time. And he brought me on to help him out with UX research. I expressed my interest, and he had a project that was good for me. So the power of networking, to this day, I've said it for years, the power of networking is still really, really powerful, really immense. And it can help you propel forward. Sorry, Chinu, you can't hear me. I hope other people can hear me, because that would be bad if this whole thing was on mute, but at least you can read it, hopefully. Sorry about that. I'll send you a recording later if there's audio. If not, we'll do it all again. What did I want to say? Oh, about being prepared. So I think it's really important to always be prepared. So as you're doing these other things, you might teach a course, maybe you have a skill set, you're really good at spreadsheets, and you can help UX researchers get better at note taking, right? If you want to brainstorm these kinds of things, by the way, I'm really good at finding these areas of expertise, let's call them, that people have that people aren't even aware are valuable to like other people. And that's a good one. What I was just sharing, you might be really good at spreadsheets and organizing information, and you take it for granted because you're really good at that. But meanwhile, other people are not really good at that. And now you have something you can share with UX researchers. Now imagine that as your line item, and imagine that as your story when you have an interview, how you have helped the industry, right? You've helped many UX researchers. But the other thing, sorry, I'm reading how folks are having audio problems as well. So good. It looks like folks can hear me. Great. The other thing I wanted to say about being prepared. So when I left Bridgewater, I was ready to go off on my own and, be a consultant, which is what I'm doing now. And at the time, I was like, there's one company I would work for, if it comes around, and that was Google. But I was ready to go off on my own. But I thought if Google calls me, which, through the years they had called on and off and it was never the right time. And then it happened and they called, and you know what? I was prepared. And what I mean in this context is my resume, my portfolio, I was ready. So I wasn't scrambling at the last minute to put all that stuff together. Even present day. So I left Google in September. I've been on my own. I've been a consultant. My resume is still ready. So if I get a call from a company and it's a really cool job that I want to take, I'm ready. I'm ready to take it. I'm staying fresh with content. I'm talking to people. I'm reading what other people are up to, attending conferences and things like that. Like, I'm staying relevant, and I'm making sure I'm talking to people about what they're up to. I'm making sure my portfolio, my resume are up to date. So I'm ready. I'm ready when it comes. Oftentimes my coaching clients, one of the things we do right off the bat is work on the resume, right? And you'd be surprised. I mean, many of you can probably relate. A lot of people don't keep their resume up to date. And if you haven't started doing it, I recommend you start right now, whatever stage of your career you're in, because I'll tell you something else. It's a lot harder to try to remember what you've done for the past 2, 3, 10, 20 years. It's a lot harder to try to remember all that than it is to keep track of it. So keep that resume updated at all times. Keep your portfolio updated. Get creative on your portfolio. I'm thinking about mine and how I want to showcase all my work for these past, 20 years, what my portfolio will look like as a researcher, not as a designer. Like, I'm starting to think about these things too. And I'm not even, actively looking, but I want to be prepared. So if something comes my way that I'm very interested in, that I'm ready to act on it. And I don't have to scramble around and be nervous about things like a resume and portfolio. So I highly recommend being prepared. Make sure your resume, your portfolio are up to date. Practice interview questions. A lot of my coaching clients, if they have a resume but they're not getting the interview, that's step one. We look at the resume to figure out, how are you telling your story, and how can we make sure your story, your expertise, the reason why this company needs to hire you, how do we make sure that's really clear on paper, on a resume, right? Okay, but let's say you're getting the interviews, but you're not getting any offers. You're not getting any follow-up calls. Well, so then something's taking place in the interview process. So we may practice interview questions. Practice interview questions. You can hire somebody to do that with. There's lots of coaches, lots of mentors. There's so many people willing to give their time, whether it's paid or not paid. There's lots of people you can reach out to. You can reach out to friends, colleagues, people who are in the UX field, and you can practice interview questions. So again, when you get the interview, you're ready. You're not going in cold. You're not going in scared, nervous. You've been practicing. You've got stories to share about your experience, and you're ready to go into a company and share your experiences. So keep the resume and portfolio updated. Practice interview questions and sharing your story. Practice sharing your portfolio. Get lots of feedback. These are things you could do now to be prepared for when you get that job. I don't want to be rude, and I hope I don't offend anybody when I say this, but if you want to throw in the towel, if you don't want to stay the course, if it's too much work for you and you're frustrated and you just don't want to do it anymore, then don't. First of all, you should be happy. Everybody deserves to be happy. And if you want to take a break and go do something else for a bit while the UX economy sorts itself out, then do it. You should do that for yourself. I mean, think about how many people are using this time when they've been laid off. They're taking sabbaticals. They're doing things that are completely different. They're taking a breather. So many of us have gotten so burnt out from like running for so many years that people now just want to take a break, which is ironic, considering how many people are looking for jobs. But it's okay. It's back in the day, I'm not that long ago, but back in the day, if you had a gap on your resume, people were worried, like, what are they going to say? They're going to question why I have a gap and how am I going to explain this? And it's not like that anymore. People have gaps in their resumes, and it's sometimes, due to a layoff or something like that. But sometimes it's by design. People are choosing to take time off. So if you want to throw in the towel, take a break. Go do something else for a little while, whether it be bartending, dog walking, WordPress consulting, whatever it is, but you can do it. You can take a break and nobody's going to give you shit for that. But the other thing is, honestly, and this is the part where I hope I don't offend anybody. Forgive me if I do, but I mean it. If you really don't want to put in the work, then please do step aside. There are so many people who want the job, not because it's cool, but this is what they've been wanting. This is their dream job. This is what they want to do. And when recruiters are getting hundreds of applicants for a single role, that's a lot to sift through. And if you're really not passionate and excited and you don't want to put in the work, then give the opportunity to somebody else who does. And I say this, this has been my philosophy for people who are employed too. It's like we had a, I don't know what you want to call it, a concept or a mantra or, a saying. We had a saying at Google: respect the opportunity. And I think all too often people take their opportunities for granted. They're not respecting the opportunity. And I've been there myself, where I've had amazing opportunities that, maybe I did take for granted. Maybe I was at my limits. Maybe I was burnt out, for whatever the reason, I wasn't giving it my all. So, I've had this mentality for employed people too. Like, you respect the opportunity, you give it your all. The old saying, if you're going to do it right. Like, don't half-ass it. So whether you have a role, respect it, appreciate it, give it your all. And if you're applying, it's the same thing. We have to work for it. We have to work hard for it. And then we get that role, we're excited, right? But like, bring that energy in and do what you need to do to gain that energy, regain that energy. If you have to take a break, it's okay. But bring that positive energy, and give it your all. It is exciting, all the jobs that we've been seeing. LinkedIn's been great. I feel like I've used LinkedIn, gotten a lot out of LinkedIn. Many of you have gotten a lot out of LinkedIn lately. It's been really great for our field and for UX and for people sharing all these jobs. I meant it when I said I've seen more job postings in the past few weeks than I've seen in a really long time. That's really exciting. Unfortunately, layoffs are still occurring, so we'll see where this goes. I'm still confident that the field is growing, and all these posts, we're seeing a lot of postings, and some of them are from the big tech companies, which is interesting, right? They had all these layoffs and then they're hiring again, but there's a lot of new companies. I've seen a lot of postings for first UX researcher, which is so exciting. It's so exciting for our field. And even if we're not the ones getting that job, I think as we think about our field as a whole, that's exciting. And we should all be really happy about it. Because, for those of us who have been in this field for a while, it means we're doing something good. We've been fighting to get a seat at the table and, have UX be right up there with product and design. And, it's like, we're doing it. We're doing it because other companies now are recognizing the need for UX research, and they're finally hiring their first UX researcher, which is so exciting. It's really, really exciting for our field. So I hope you can, feel that energy as well. I guess that's all I had to say. I just wanted to share. I set these objectives to like post more. Many of you know, I've been a UX coach on the side for many years since I was at Facebook. That's actually where it started. And it started because when I was at Facebook, people wanted referrals. And instead of just referring people, I would spend 15 minutes with them, ask them to send me their resume. And I would spend 15 minutes with them to see what they were interested in. I would give them some feedback on some pointers on their resume and tell them what to expect next. And people were so grateful for the 15 minutes I gave them that when I left Facebook, I thought, let me see if this thing has legs. Will people actually pay me to give this kind of advice, or was it just because I was at Facebook? Lo and behold, I made a side business out of it. It's been a side hustle for many, many years. But then recently, I would say since September, since I left Google, it's become more of a primary thing. Well, I'm still working on lots of things as I do. But where was I going with this? Oh, so I set myself objectives to post more like on LinkedIn about coach related things, like where the field is going. I thought about doing a post about salary because I think salary is going to be changing now, right? Like getting an entry level job and making $200,000 a year. I don't think we're doing that anymore, right? Like salaries are going to drop and we need to be prepared for that. Anybody who has been laid off going back into the workforce, I think it's going to be a big surprise. What people are getting paid now. Doesn't mean it won't ever go up, but I don't know. I wish I had a crystal ball for that one. But honestly, I don't think I or many people are going to be making what we were making, last year, or the year before. Anybody who was in tech, like things have changed dramatically. So anyway, I thought about doing a post about salary. I'm working on my own, what's the word? Not motivation, but my own like discipline. People think I have discipline because I get so much shit done, but my discipline ebbs and flows. Like I get a lot of, I'm efficient, but not disciplined. And I've been trying to work on my own discipline. And, part of that is doing these UX and coffee chats. It's been fun to bring in UX friends and have chats with them, and happy to be here just sharing what's on my brain with you today. But I've put things on my calendar, like to read a chapter and share on LinkedIn, what I'm reading, or to share my thoughts on things. And I have not been consistent. I hope to gain consistency because I do find it's motivating. It's really motivating to share and talk and hear what other people have to say. People who have the same opinion, people who have different opinions. I love different opinions. That's to me, the most value of interacting with other people and not just pushing information out. But yeah, I've been meaning to do more of these things. And if you have topics that you want to hear about, that you want to talk about, please reach out. If you want to sit with me and do a UX and coffee, that would be fun. Whether we, again, share the same opinion or have different opinions about something, I think it'd be great. It'd be great to chat and get more thought partners in the room. And if you want any help or want to brainstorm anything like your resume, your portfolio, practice interview questions, look at job postings, see if you're a fit, make sure you're using the right lingo on your resume and in your portfolio and in your interview questions. If you're interested in a specific kind of training for you, for your team, reach out. Let me know. I'm here for you as a resource. And, if you want to just meet for 15 minutes, let's meet for 15 minutes. If you want to have some sort of a routine where we meet regularly and we're working on your development, awesome. If you want to join me in Hawaii in August for a research retreat where you'll get hands-on training, leading research, working directly with stakeholders, working in the field, doing in-home interviews, intercept interviews, working on real business problems, come join me. It's going to be a lot of work. If you know me and if you've worked with me, you know that it's a lot of work. I give a lot, I expect a lot, but you know what? You get a lot. So, if you want to join me on any of these endeavors, I'm here for you. And I guess that's it for today. Lovely to chat with you. Hope I haven't offended anybody with my opinions about staying or not staying the course. But I say stay. If you're in it, if you're willing to work hard, if you're willing to work hard on your own personal growth, your own personal development, stay. The field is not going anywhere. Don't be ashamed or afraid to take something that may feel like a lower level role. That's okay. Look, I'm a consultant right now. I'm doing my own thing, and I've had my eye on some roles where I'm like, "Ooh, I know I'm overqualified, but that looks like a really cool role, and maybe I should think about it." Like it's okay. Be open-minded about what we're going through right now as a UX field. UX is not dying; it's restructuring, and if you have the grit to stick with it, and if you have other things in your life that bring you joy, bring you happiness. So you're not putting all of your eggs in your UX career basket. That's just one basket in life. You've got other baskets in life. So work on your other baskets too. And I promise you it will get better. You have to work hard. You have to work hard. But you will have it. You will get it. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for being here. Hope you all have a wonderful day and send me some feedback. Tell me what you think. See ya.